It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Let's get out of here. Aye. Hey everybody, it's Aaron from Got a Minute. Time for a review, a 2023 to 2030 Rapture review, speculation. We're kind of in a 30-day countdown from the time of this post, maybe even less than that if we're going to consider a 2030 second coming. Here's some charts, here's some reviews. We're going to slam it down and refresh some minds, and for some it's going to be a first video, so I'll kind of review things quickly, but I'll try and explain the best I can in a few minutes here. So what everybody does when they think the Feast of Trumpets is past, they think, hey, it might be a Jubilee year. And so they say, it might be a Jubilee year. And so I don't want you to go and jump on that. I think that the Jubilee year is reserved for the second coming. It's all in Leviticus 25. But the whole thing about Jubilee year is it's a return, a possession of the family. It's a release of slaves and servants. It's the redemption of the land. It's a complete restoration. And I think that the rapture is not going to be a complete return, release, and redemption for the whole entire story. It makes complete sense for a Jubilee year to be in the second coming. So anybody sharing those things, saying that we're a month off and that we are entering a Jubilee potential thing on the Day of Atonement, I really don't think that's the case. However, that doesn't mean we can't get raptured in a few days. I just do not think this is a Jubilee year. I think it makes the most sense to be at the second coming. So we'll leave that. That's just one point that I wanted to remind you of. I did a video on that. It was about 10 minutes long, and that was, I don't know, probably about a month ago. You can check that out. Here is the Hebrew alphabet, and instead of actually having the words here, there are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. Jesus says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the other words, the Aleph and the Tav. And I use rainbows to kind of connect the dots here. The value of Aleph and Tav is 1 and 22, which equals 23. The value of the next two letters in between is 2 and 21, which is equal to 23. So everything equals 23. Here we are in 2023. The one little fun note that I wanted to add is red is on the outside of the rainbow. And Jesus covers us with his blood. And it's funny that the red covers the rainbow. It's the top color of a rainbow. And it's his blood that covers us. So his handiwork and his story is written in the rainbow. That's just an incredible thing. And we know that there's a rainbow in Genesis and in Revelation and so on. So we can talk about that a lot more. But the review here is that it all adds up to 23. And the whole Hebrew alphabet points to the center. And the 11th and the 12th letter, the Kaf and the Lamed, has a value of 20. And that one has a value of 30. So here's another picture of that. I wrote it in this way. This is not how you would write it, but I kind of wanted to make a point to, it all points to 2030. And this is the 12th letter. But also the cool thing is the Kaf is the 11th letter from the beginning, and it's the 11th letter from the end. So a lot of people, have those 11-11 connections. That this might be the reason why you were getting these 11-11 connections. I'm not saying that the rapture is in 2030. We're simply subtracting 7 years from 2030. But it seems like God was pointing at 2030 this whole time. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We have about 30 days to find out, in my opinion. And here's my chart. So here's what I really wanted to get to. So 2030. If the second coming is going to be on 2030 on Day of Atonement, October 8th, 2030, 7 prophetic years back from that is November 14th. So we are sitting in this window of time right now, in this area over here. Let me just adjust this camera. Maybe I could make it a little bit better for you. That didn't make much of a difference, but that's okay. Anyway, so we're sitting in this area depending on when you're watching this video. And we're less than 30 days from November 14th, which could be the beginning of the tribulation. It could be Rapture Day. I really don't know. I have no clue where we're at. We could fly today. I have no clue. But the whole concept here is, for me, if we get past November 14th, oh boy, back to the drawing board. I don't know what we're going to do here. But right now, this is a nice blueprint. Let's say this is the beginning of Trib, or it could be Rapture Day, I don't know, or we get raptured over here somewhere. From this day, if you had 1,260 days, it gets you to Passover. On the Torah calendar, they're a month early, in my opinion. I think this is more or less in the Passover zone. Don't be too picky about the dates here in terms of 14th or 13th, or 12th, or April 25th, October 6th. This is just a generalized timeline, a potential blueprint. So it's nice that Passover's in the middle of this blueprint and Day of Atonement's at the end. And this could be the beginning of Trib. This is King Charles's birthday, by the way. We'll leave it at that. My favorite scenario, adding the extra days, in the book of Daniel, the last chapter is talking about 1290 and 1335. So I said 1260. Well, another 30 days is 1290, and another 45 days is the 1335. So that means that there's a 75 days between Day of Atonement and Hanukkah. Again, if they're off a month, that would be the Hanukkah timeline in 2030, December. And so that compensates for all that. And then we rededicate the new temple on God's true Hanukkah. It all fits real nice with this kind of a timeline. We talked about the eclipses in many of those live stream videos, so go ahead and check those out, but maybe I can put a screenshot in this video later. This particular eclipse goes over Patmos, where the book of Revelation was written on June 1st, 2030. And not only Patmos, but generally where most of the New Testament was written. This one goes right over, like if Israel's right here, it goes over Patmos and everything and all that. And then this eclipse in November goes through South Africa and underneath Israel, like that. So these two eclipses kind of, in a way, they kind of almost circle Israel. So those happen to be there right around the fall feasts in 2030, which I think is significant. So based on what I just presented there with the letters, the Kaf and the Lamed, right here, being the center of the Hebrew alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet adding up to 23 when you just keep on adding in from the outsides of the pages, and all the other studies we've been doing. 2030 is a very reasonable option still, and I think we are just shy of 30 days to find out. If we're still here, we're still here. We just keep on going, and that's about it. So that's the quick Rapture review timeline. If you want to learn more and be part of the community, the God a Minute community, please hop in our Discord. Our details are always in the description box below any video, and you can click on the little arrow, and I think it's the bottom right corner. Laptops and cell phones are different when you click on that description box, but that'll get you into the Discord. And Discord is an app. It's just another app. They just happen to call it that name, and whatever. I didn't make the name up. So some people will say, I'm not going to join that because I don't like the name of it. Well, that's not the point of it all. It's a place to communicate. I wish they would have called it something like, fellowship app or something. That's what they should have called it, but they called it Discord. Anyway, love you guys very much. Hope to see you in the clouds very soon. We are one day closer, and take it easy, okay? Take it easy. Bye.